Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Bear Experiment podcast. I'm your host, Monica Clavijo, and today I welcome my guest, Diana. Now, Diana, for millions of working parents, putting your child on a school bus isn't necessarily a choice, but it's part of how we make life work nowadays, right? So you have a job, you can't always leave work at 2, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. You trust that your child gets on a bus and that they're going to be delivered safely to a place where they're supposed to be delivered to. So, what happens when that doesn't happen? So, today, Diane is here to share her story of what happened to her 5-year-old daughter, Angelina, on the very first week of school in kindergarten here in Seminole County. So, thank you, Diana, for sharing the story. I am in shock, in shock as a mother with a daughter who's in high school. And listen, I worry about her, and she's 16 years old, so I can't imagine a little 5-year-old. So talk to me about this. Like, take me back to the very, very beginning. Like, literally last week, school started here. What was it? August 10th was
Mhm.
the first day of school here in Seminole County. So
Yeah,
this incident where your daughter was put on the bus, right? The public school transportation system was put on the bus at 5 years old to be delivered to your home.
correct.
And she was dropped off in the
At
wrong
the bus
neighborhood
stop. Yeah,
at the wrong bus stop. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I didn't have to have my daughter, thankfully, so young, have to be, on a bus, but I know many parents do. It's the reality of the world that we live in today, right? You have two working parents a lot of the times in order to sustain the cost of living because everything is just so expensive. Or then you
yes.
have your single mothers, right? That are just like making it all work. You're wearing all kinds of hats. So you have no choice. You can't just get out of work at 3 o'clock to pick up your children. So take me
Correct.
back to the beginning. Exactly what was it that happened with Angelina and what day was it? Was it day one of school?
So it was actually on day two because on day one, with her going into kindergarten, I wanted to do the drop off and the pickup. So I took the day off for that reason. I picked her up, dropped her off. Obviously, she got to school and out of school just fine. That second day, she was excited for school, but more excited to ride this bus for the reason being that I have my oldest daughter who's 13, and she's always seen her ride this bus since the moment she was a newborn. So she's always saying, I want to ride the bus, I want to ride the bus. So the day has came where she's finally in kindergarten and gonna get put on a bus. So it was a Tuesday morning. She made it to school just fine, no issues. In the afternoon, I was there. They have, first off, let's start off. They have this app for the bus. It tells you when they're supposed to arrive, when they're supposed to, if they're running behind, anything of that matter.
I'm familiar with
So
the app. Yeah.
yeah. So on that app, it was telling me that they were gonna get there about 30 minutes beforehand. I was like, okay, cool. So I get there 30 minutes beforehand. As I'm sitting there at the bus stop, it's telling me, okay, now they're running behind to not really behind, but they're running to their scheduled time. I was like, okay, no problem. I'll just still wait here. So I'm there waiting. I'm tracking my daughter's location because she's a 5-year-old, and even though she's 5, I gave her a cell phone because nowadays there's shooters in the school, and also because I do know of her being on the bus, I was like, I need her to be able to get a hold of me in case of an emergency. So I'm here tracking her location. She's literally showing me that she's like a stop away. So I'm not tracking her no more at this point because I'm excited. I'm like
She's
having my
getting
phone
there.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like, I need to record her to see her reaction, how she's gonna be getting off this bus. So I'm here like on record already, and she starts FaceTiming me. So I'm like, oh, she's probably just FaceTiming me to tell me that she's like around the corner. It's fine. So I decline. But she FaceTimed me again. I'm like, okay, no, why is she FaceTiming me back to back? She should have been here by now, regardless. So I answer her FaceTime and I just see like the background and it's a park. And I'm like, where are you? She's like, I just got off the bus. Do I walk home? I'm like, what do you mean? Do you walk home? What do you mean you just got off the bus? I'm here at the bus stop. So I look at her location and I see where she's at, and I hear a mom in the background saying, "Hey, I'm gonna wait with her here till you get here." I said, "Thank you so much for that." So I literally waited because I knew the bus was about to get there. So I
So
wait till the bus.
so she see because that's my question then. Such a young child, right, at 5 years old, aren't they expected to be delivered to some kind of a guardian, an adult, somebody? They can't just leave them alone.
So that's what I always thought, that in kindergarten you have to have an adult, because just the day before they had sent out an email saying make sure any K through 1 kids that are on the bus, that there is an adult there present. So I'm assuming they have to be released to an adult, at least to one that they know, a parent, a guardian.
Right,
Um,
right. A friend,
so
whatever, but somebody
right.
that's authorized to pick up your child.
Yeah, so no, that's not the case. I was told that no, by law, they do not have to release to any parent. They can just let them off the bus. I was like, that's good to know. I wish I would have known that. Regardless, I was there, but apparently I wasn't at the, well, I was at the right stop, but they dropped her off at the wrong stop. So then I wait for the bus driver to get there, and I'm like, hey, you just dropped off my kid at the wrong stop. I kid you not. It was like if I told this man, hey, you just dropped off your lunch at the other stop. He
Right.
was like so
Like
nonchalant
nothing.
about it. Like, okay, like basically, like he didn't even say, well, what do you want me to do? Not even that. He was just like, well, she got off. I'm like, she's a 5-year-old. It's her first day on the bus. Like, do you guys not guide her? Yes, she's familiar with the area, but do you guys not guide her and tell her, hey, this is where you're supposed to get off? Oh, I don't know, if the kids just get off, they get off. I was just appalled by that answer. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I got this. He's like, you can call transportation. I said, oh, but you know, I will. As soon as I was done, I went, got to my daughter, picked her up from the bus stop that she was at. Thanked the lady for holding her for me. I said, thank you so much. She's like, no, I kind of heard her on the background and she is so small. I just didn't want anybody just to come and grab her or anything. I was like, thank
Oh
you for
my
being so much more
God.
considerate than the bus driver. Um, Come to find out, there's even a helper on the bus. So I was just confused. So what does the helper do? What are they hired there for? Are they just there to make sure the noise level is kept down so the bus
Right.
driver can concentrate? Because if not, I'm not understanding why our taxes are paying for a helper that's not doing much then. Um, so that was that. So again, I get on the phone.
Okay,
As
but
soon
wait,
as I
before we get that, where you contact, so what I'm trying to understand then is how do they know the exit, right? The drop off point for that for your daughter, for Angelina, for that particular student. How is that determined when they're so young? Do they have like a scanning, like a card that they scan and it lets them know, okay, these are the students that need to get off here? Or how does
So
that
they
work?
do have a badge that they're supposed to scan, but apparently she didn't even get that until the third day of school. When they're in kindergarten, they won't get that till like the third day of school. Or if you're new to the bus system, because that's not when she got it, until the third day. But even then, they scanned it in front of me, because then the second day we had another incident. I'll get to that as well. They scanned her card in front of me to show me what information is up there, and it just basically tells you like her name, the bus stop she's supposed to get off at, but it won't tell you a school, it won't tell you anything. um so if they're not scanning it, then they won't know. But
Right.
here's the thing, they're not making these kids really scan them either. Because I saw the kids just getting right off, and it's like, well, if this is what you're supposed to be using, then make them scan it. Tell them you cannot get off this bus until it's scanned. So supposedly that's how they know, but they also have like a sheet that lets you know what kid, the kid's name and their address, and they're supposed to be double checking it before they get off. But I guess that driver,
The helper on the bus can do that, right?
yes. So I guess just nobody decided to do that. I guess they knew all their kids and felt like they knew where all their kids were going. And I guess I got a lot of feedback that my 5-year-old should know exactly where she's going.
Of
So that's what I was
course.
told. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you how do you reunite then with your daughter? You go to the location where she's at, you pick her up
Straight to
there.
the location, picked her up. She was honestly, she's very mature for a 5-year-old. And again, here's my issue. She was dropped off at a bus stop. It was still relatively close to my house, an area that she's familiar with,
So you
but
think that she could have made it home on her own if you weren't there?
she could have, because she literally asked me, "Do I walk home?" And so I was like, "No, you're not walking home. You're fine." But
Of
I know, like
course.
every time we're on the car or something, she'll be like, "Oh, this is the way home." Like she'll tell me, "Oh, turn here, turn there," and I love that because that's teaching her sense of direction, independency, in case
For
she ever does get
sure.
lost. So I know she could have got home, but not every 5-year-old is like her.
No,
Not
and
every
especially
5-year-old.
that she's so young, in case of an emergency, something like this happens. Okay, like you're in emergency mode right now. Go straight home, walk straight home, right?
Exactly. But again, my voice, I'm trying to put it out there for the kids that don't have a voice, for the kids that don't know how to get home. Or, some parents, my parents were immigrants, so they have no lick of English, no
Same here.
nothing. And so they would have not been able to like really put this message out there for me. So that's why I'm out there and I'm like, no, I want to put this out there
No,
because
and you
this
made
is
a
my
really valid point when we started talking. I just wasn't recording yet. Where you do have your students that are on there that could be very limited because they're
labels.
speech impaired, autism, any type of special needs that won't be able to easily communicate exactly where they need to get off or if they're being dropped off in the wrong location. So what happens
Exactly.
with those children? Is there special treatment with them?
No, and then I found out that once your kid is off the bus, they're not responsible for them no more.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
So I was like, so something would have happened to my kid, who would have been responsible for this? Apparently not the transportation system. So when I picked up my kid, I obviously was like, no, you don't ever get off this bus unless I'm here. I will always be here, blah, blah.
Pobrecita.
Yeah. So I called transportation and they just kept transferring me to voicemails and voicemails. And I would leave a voicemail to every single voicemail that they left me on. But I was determined to speak to somebody before the end of the business day. I was not waiting till the next morning. By 5 o'clock, I did get a hold of somebody, very lovely lady. Her name is Joyce Moore. Because I do want to, give flowers when they're due. She was very responsive. She came out immediately. She honestly apologized for her bus driver, saying, that was, even if our policy is that there shouldn't be an adult, there doesn't have to be an adult. You, as a compassionate person, should
As
be
a
like, you
human
know what?
being,
Right.
absolutely.
Especially seeing a 5-year-old, they're like, let me at least see. Especially knowing she's like, I know you were there at the morning, so I don't know why they wouldn't think you wouldn't be there in the afternoon. I'm like, exactly. So the lady was very nice. She took full accountability for her bus driver. She did tell me, hey, I'm gonna meet you at the bus stop the next morning, which that would have been Wednesday. She's like, I'm gonna meet you there Wednesday morning because I do want to meet you and Angelina in person, and I want to make this right, and I'm gonna make sure the bus driver knows never to let your kid off this bus unless there's a guardian here. I said, perfect, thank you. I love that so much. Met her the next morning, Wednesday morning. Lovely lady. Once again, I cannot stress that. She was more furious than the driver was. So she came to me, she came to the driver, let the driver know. But I kid you not, this driver, if looks could have killed, I would have been dead. This driver was looking at me like if I committed murder, like if I'm the one that left my kids somewhere else. He was just looking at me like trying to intimidate me. And so my daughter got inside the bus and I looked at Joyce and I was like, I do not feel comfortable with him driving my daughter anymore because do you not see the
Good for you.
animosity?
Good for
Yeah, I was
you.
like, there's too much animosity. I don't need him taking it out on my kid. She was like, oh, I saw that. That will be taken care of and it will be handled by this afternoon. He will not be the driver. She stuck to her word. He is no longer the driver. So we got a new bus driver. So once
Did he get fired or they
he
just
did
took
get
him off
fired.
that route?
He did get fired.
Good.
As far as I was told, he was fired. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told.
Okay,
So
good. I hope he
hopefully that
was.
is true. But in case he wasn't, that's why I put his picture out there for moms to be on the lookout because he does not care about your kids. Um,
And
so yeah.
clearly,
Uh, then the next day, we got a new bus driver Wednesday. She's Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, Wednesday afternoon, she got the new bus driver. She gets dropped off at the correct place. Everything's good. Thursday morning, I get a call from her school about 10:30 in the morning saying, hey, mom, I just want to call to let you know Angelina got dropped off at the wrong school this morning. But she is okay. She is back on campus. I said, okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. At this point, I was like, I don't even know what to say or do anymore. Again, it's not the Joyce's fault. It's not, I don't know who to put the blame on this one, right? So apparently, I found out too that day that for my daughter's school specifically, since it's a magnet school, there's another magnet school by it, so they'll just bus the children's that all go to these magnet school together. So there's two schools on one bus. Okay, so I come to find out that my daughter's been getting dropped off as the first school. She gets dropped off every morning first. Apparently, on Thursday, the new bus driver dropped off the other school first.
so she
So
got
my
confused.
daughter assumed, oh, this is my school, and just got off.
I mean,
Um,
she's 5 years old, you know?
yeah, yes. So,
I mean, that's a mistake that we can make, right? As adults, right? If
right,
we're not paying attention. Oh, shoot,
right.
it's
So
always here.
I did Thursday afternoon. I did wait for the bus. She got there afternoon just fine. I did wait for the bus and I spoke to the bus lady and I told her, hey, I am kind of upset that once again did this just happen 2 days ago, and now we're in the same situation, but now in the morning. At least this lady was very apologetic. She's like, I am a mom, so I do understand your frustration. So I don't want nobody bashing her, because again, everybody does make mistakes, everybody is human, and at least she took accountability and was very respectful and responsive to me, and wasn't just brushing me off like the other guy. So that was that. And then I did tell Joyce, because at this point I just had questions myself. I'm like, I'm not even upset with the driver. Again, things happen. It's a mistake. It was corrected. But my whole thing is, what are these badges for then? Like, what are they being scanned for then?
Right. That's my
Um,
question. Yeah.
Right. And then so that's when the bus driver had scanned her Angelina's scan card with me, so I can see, because she's like, I do not know what school she goes to. It doesn't say that. I am so sorry. Again, like I said, she was apologetic. So I was like, wait, what do you mean it doesn't say the school? So it doesn't. It doesn't say her school. It doesn't say anything. It just basically says her name and her address and what bus stop she's supposed to be at. So I was like, okay, that raises concerns now. So I did get with Joyce again, and I did let her know, like, I think there should be some things change in the system, especially if there's two schools in one bus. You should at least let the parents know, because I just found that out. Had I known that, I would have at least trained my kids to make sure, hey,
It's
do
the
you know
right
what school
school.
to go to? Hey, make sure you ask before you get off. Hey, this is the school. This is not the school. There's different questions I could have gone over with my kid for it not to happen again, but I didn't know. So I did ask, maybe if you're dropping off or picking up two schools, you guys should let the parents know, especially for smaller kids, so we can prep them.
Yeah.
And then I did tell them maybe they should add the school on the badges as well. Um, but at this point, it just seems like
I
it's
mean,
it,
that
it
just
is a
seems like common sense at this point because if it's their name, their address, where they're
yeah,
being dropped off, it's so much information. Like the most obvious one is what school do they have to attend?
yeah,
Especially if it's multiple schools that they're dropping off students with, right?
right. So at this point, I don't know what else I can do. I am planning on going to like the school board meeting to talk about transportation, to get my story out there once again and see what changes they can make to that. Because I know in the early 2000s I rode the bus in Miami, and there was no technology, and I know if I wanted to get off at my friend's bus stop, I was not allowed. They did not allow that unless there was a parent slip or something. I just couldn't get off any random stop. So I'm confused how now with technology there's more mess ups. That's what I don't get.
My experience with riding the bus was always in Miami also, but the little private buses,
Yeah.
that you would pay for. So there was a different, since my parents were paying for it, there was a different level of responsibility, I guess, that the bus drivers always took also, right? Like they would
Right.
make sure that they dropped you off in front of your house and that you got inside and that you walked in. It was just, I don't know, maybe because they're Hispanic parents and women driving the bus.
Yeah.
It was just like a different formality, right? Because I would think that as whether you're a man or a woman, a 5 year old is a 5 year old. I mean, that's practically like a baby, right? Like, you need to make sure that there is an adult, a guardian, somebody that is picking up that child. And at that point, you don't leave until that happens, until you see that exchange, right?
Right.
Especially when they're that small. So, how was Angelina then afterwards when you finally met with her at the park? Thank God for that other adult that stayed with her. How was she with you? Was she scared? Was she
She
confused?
no, she's a old soul. She was looking at me like, "Mommy, I could have walked home. I could have
Pobrecita.
just walked home." I'm like, "No, you can't." I'm like, "What if something happens to you? What if you get lost?" I won't get lost. Plus, you're tracking me. I'm like, I'm so glad that you're like that, so independent, but you don't know the bigger risk that could have happened here. So
I
she was very
know.
like nonchalant. And then every time she hears me tell the story, she's like, "Mommy, I was not lost. Stop telling everybody I was lost. They didn't lose me." I'm like, they did lose you though. Like, you don't think you're lost, but they did lose you. They didn't know where you were at one point.
Not only
Um,
that, and I was reading because I relocated here like 2.5 years ago from Miami, and Orlando is one of the top child trafficking cities in
yes,
the country.
yes,
This is
that is.
it. This is where they start recruiting over here.
Yes, that is very true. And I did find that out too when my kids started in school, because I moved here about 5 years ago.
Mhm.
And that scares me even more. I'm like, my daughter does cheer and dance. So when we're at these arenas, I'm always like, you guys got to be careful. Anybody can take you guys. I
Oh
have
my
them
God.
traumatized with being kidnapped.
Yeah, same here. Same here with my daughter. I'm just like, girl, you are not going by yourself. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. I can take you. So then what's even more concerning, right, is that you say that she was dropped off and then the second time she was dropped off at the wrong school again. So then like what kind of measures and accountability was Joyce helping you with, and are they taking accountability for with the public school
Yeah.
transportation
So I
system?
will say when she got dropped off at the wrong school, it's not like she was there for like an hour, even 30 minutes. I guess she got off and was like looking around like, okay, this doesn't look
So
familiar.
where did she go at that point when she realized that
They
she got
took
off
her
at
to
the
the office to run her name, and then they're like, "You don't go here." And then they called her bus driver, and I guess the bus driver was like a street away or something. And
and
then
she
the
came
bus
back?
driver came right back, picked her up, and took them to school.
Well,
So this past weekend, what I did as a mom to take better precautions, because apparently everybody's bashing me like it's my fault.
I was reading the comments, right? Because that's like, okay, let me see. And I knew it. I knew that people were going to start talking shit.
Yeah,
Like, oh, why are you leaving a 5-year-old alone on a bus? Well, because how about I have to? Because I have to pay the bills and I have to go to work and I can't pick her up at that time because if not, I'm going to get fired or I'm going to get
it's
suspended.
either pay bills and have a home and all these nice things, or be take my kid and be homeless. What do y'all prefer? I prefer it
Right.
to my kid ride a bus and we still have a good life.
No, and listen, children have been taking public school transportation
Ever.
forever, right? So it's just like what needs to be changed though, so that this doesn't happen again to another child. Where fortunately with your daughter, you were able to reunite with her because you gave her a cell phone, you saw her location, you were there, you were on top of it. But what about for the parent that can't afford to have a cell phone for their child and they can't find their child, and all of a sudden now their child gets kidnapped and trafficked and sent to like, right?
Yeah.
And they never
No,
see
it's
their
a
child
very scary
again.
thing. It was just like a minute of panic, but that minute of panic felt so long for me.
No, I can't
I was
imagine.
like, my heart is gone. Like, what do I do? Like, I can't. I was just like, what in the like? Excuse my French. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where? What do I do? Where's my kid? Like, I was on furious mode. That's why I was like, oh my gosh, my potty mouth in that other video. But that's exactly how furious I was because I'm like, again, I
No, I'm
found
glad
my
you
kid.
posted it. I'm glad you're bringing awareness to
Yeah,
this.
I'm like, again, that's my kid. My kid has a phone, and at least my kid has a little bit of common sense. But let's be for real, a lot of these kids nowadays don't have common sense either, right? So it's like, what would they do? What if a parent is at working and expecting their bus to drop them off where they're supposed to? So what if I didn't have a car and they would have dropped off my daughter
How do you
ten
get
minutes
her?
away? How was I gonna get to her walking? And then she had to walk back. That no, that's not okay.
That is insane to me. I'm
Yeah.
just like processing everything as you're explaining it. And thank God that your daughter, right, is tiene chipa, right? Like she's on it because any other little kid would have completely gone with a stranger and a stranger could have very easily hurt that child.
Yeah, and so precautions that I can say if people can take, I would say and that's another thing. The schools are no phone zone. No, my kid needs a phone. Clearly,
Yeah.
she needs a phone. I would say if you could afford it, get a phone for your kid. If you can, get the Life 360 on that phone. Look, as much work as it seems, make sure you're locating that kid, tracking them from the moment they get on and off that bus for your own peace of mind. And
I do that to
honestly,
my daughter and she's in
right.
11th grade. I still do that to her all the time.
And then also, just try to, if they do ride the bus on the first day, let your bus driver know, hey, my kid is a bus driver. Do not let this kid off the bus without me being present. Like, I guess try to open
Is
up
it the
that.
same bus driver every single day? Is that how it works?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
at
so they
least for
start becoming
alternate.
accustomed with the students and the locations where they have to be dropped off, etc., right?
Yeah, so I guess for my now I know for my second, more last and third child, but luckily for him, he'll have his bigger sister with him on the bus.
Right. Yeah, that's
But
different.
but I mean, for first time children, I would say also do a trial run. Plenty of people told me to do that, like, oh, have them
Oh,
count the
that's a
bus
good
stops.
idea. Yeah, like this is how it works, right? Like this is where
Yeah,
you get
but
off.
they told me to have them count the bus stops. I don't know how many bus stops there is because they don't tell me. But at least what I did do over this weekend now was I started off here at the house, and then I went to the other school that they drop off, and then I went back to her regular school, and then I went back to the other one and I told her, pinpoint me which one's your school. Just so she can kind of, so
Smart.
I did that. Yeah. So now I tested her. I'm like, what's your teacher's name? What grade are you in? What's this? What's that? Which she obviously knows my address and phone number and my full name, but I guess I should have remembered to tell her her school name. So maybe that was my fault. But even then, they never even asked her. So I would say just, moving forward, prep your kids. Make sure they know, their school name, teacher, address, phone number. And if you can, do a trial run on that bus
I
and
like
show
that
them.
idea. Yeah, like look, this is your school. This is the other school. Don't get off here. Right? Like
Yeah.
really black and white it for them so, because they're so little and they can get so easily distracted right at that point so that it
Yeah.
doesn't happen to them.
And I
did,
honestly got that from the comments while people were bashing me, and I'm like, okay, I'm
did
sorry,
you
because
get did you get a lot? Did you keep getting more bashing?
yeah, I did. They're like, why would you put a 5-year-old on the bus?
That's
Oh,
good. You know what? The bashing is just going to give it more attention. And
ex-
this is a story that requires a lot of attention. So let the
exactly.
haters hate.
Exactly. And I'm like, I don't care. Another thing, like I honestly, if I wanted to, I could make the sacrifice of picking her up and dropping her off, right? But she clearly wants to ride this bus. I asked her again this week. I was like, "Do you still want to go on the bus, or do you want mommy to take you?" She's like, "No, I want to ride the bus." I said, "I'm gonna give it one more week. If there's any more mess ups, then we're done."
Right.
But here's the thing: the reason why I let her make that choice is because I'm teaching my kid independency as young as one. I'm teaching them how to be independent because I'm not always going to be here. Then you have these adults or even teenagers that are 18 and they still can't order McDonald's for themselves.
Yep.
Why? Because they've had their hands held the whole time. And don't get me wrong, that's what we're supposed to do as mothers. But I also do feel like we need to kind of let our babies go a little bit, because if not, they're not going to know what it is to feel independent, to make a decision. So that's why I was like, I know this bus situation seems a little crazy, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're more insane for letting her get back on." I'm like, there's gonna be error and trial, and again, I'm glad. Not that I'm glad it happened to her, but at least it happened to her and not somebody with a learning disability. Somebody that at least can speak up for themselves and has a mom that will speak out for her. But other than that, I was like, I like to teach my kids how to be independent, and part of being on this bus is her learning how to be independent.
How many bus stops from the school to your house do you know now? Have you made
They
that
have
calculation?
They have about five. So it ain't that many.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Did you ever get an opportunity to confront the first bus driver?
Yes, I did. And that's when he was like so nonchalant about it. Like he
Oh,
just
I
didn't
thought it
care.
was just like talking. Did you see
No,
him like
no,
in
it was in
person?
person. It was in
Oh,
person.
okay.
And it was just like looking at me like I just told him, "Hey, you left your lunch." That was all. He did not care. And then the second day when the Joyce lady came out to meet me at the bus stop, he was, I guess, mad that she was there. He kept looking at me like this, like and with eyes like just mad, like I'm telling you, if looks could have killed, he would have killed me. That's why I was like, I do not appreciate him still driving my daughter, like all this
I
animosity
don't
for
blame
one.
you. I would have been the exact same way.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about what then do you recommend, or if you can give any type of suggestion to like a parent right now, right? Their student, we're only in the second week of school here in Seminole County in Miami. School started on Thursday, right? So many
Mhm.
parents have no choice, like what we were talking about, but to put their kids on a bus so young, kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, right? So what steps would you want the public school transportation system to
Uh,
evaluate, right? In order to be able to safely deliver your child at school and back at the bus stop to an adult.
Well, I think the first thing should be there has to be a parent. There just has to be a parent. If not, don't release these children. Um, I think that's the number one priority right there. That should be changed. Second, I think on these badges, it should have the bus stop, it
Yeah.
should have the school's name, and obviously where they live. Because if not, what are we doing? And then, third and not least, I really think that these bus drivers should take the time out of their day and make these kids really scan these badges. Because if they're not scanning these badges, then the app ain't really working. It's no good. It's not useful to us
Right,
if they're
because
not.
it'll tell you the location where supposedly your kid is supposed to get off, but there's no proof that your kid got off in that bus stop,
Exactly.
right?
Because they're manually entering it, though. They are manually entering it.
Who's manually entering it?
The bus drivers, because that day that she got off at the wrong school, they put her as if she was off at Midway. She never got off at Midway. She got off at her other school, the wrong
So they're
school.
not even they're not even paying attention.
Exactly. So
They're
it's
just
if
marking
we
to
have
mark
this
like the kid got off the bus.
Exactly. So it's like if our tax money is going into this, let's use it correctly.
Yes.
And also, I think also, they need to probably pay better, have better pay for the bus drivers, because let's be for real, nobody's gonna care for a $13 an hour job. Nobody cares.
No, it's
So
listen, it's a huge responsibility
it
too, right?
is.
But it's but we go back to just being a human being and being a compassionate parent or person. It's a child, right? Like
But a lot of these people that are getting, like, since it is a bad pay, they're just getting it to get the job, to get a paycheck. So a lot of these people that aren't doing the job, they're not, their heart's not in it. They don't, they're just there for a check. So I really feel like if we up the pay more people would be like, oh, I actually have to do a good job to keep this job. And then there wouldn't be so much of a shortage. Since there's also so much of a bus shortage, they're just hiring anybody. Hey, you could drive a bus, here you go. You don't care about kids, it doesn't matter. Just drive them there safely.
I would assume that they're doing like background checks and all that though, right? Or are they just
I think
letting
I think
any
background
loon get
checks,
on
yeah.
and drive all these kids around? There has to be, yeah, there has to be some kind of background check.
Background checks I do think they're doing, but I think there should be some type of compassionate test. I don't know. Like, what would you do with this? What would you do with that?
Another great, like if they did it correctly and they actually stuck to it, right, is for the parent or guardian to get some sort of an alert on their phone. Like, okay, your child just got off at this location, boom, and you get an alert so that you know that they're getting off there, whether they're being, even if you're there picking them up, you should get a text on your phone saying your child was just delivered at this bus, as stop number 5 at this
Yeah.
location.
So also with the busing app that we have, it just tells you like, oh, they got picked up from school, because and we only know that because they scanned it. But it doesn't show you like a live thing of where the bus is moving through. And I think that would be a little bit more helpful for
I
it to
thought
show
that
you.
it did because I was
No.
paying attention to it when I first moved here. I could have sworn that it did have a
Then
live.
maybe it stopped, because for me it
I
just
mean, I
tells.
haven't looked into it in like a year
Yeah,
because I just track my daughter on her phone now, right?
yeah.
Pero in the system, in that app, it tells you where the bus is coming by. I think.
Oh,
I think.
then
Maybe I'm wrong.
if they
Maybe you
changed
know what?
it or
Maybe
not.
I'm wrong. Maybe I was doing it through her, just through her phone. That's how I was.
Yeah, because it just tells you like where her school is and then where her stop is, and then it just tells you like, oh, on the bus still, but it won't tell you like, oh, she's on the 1792, let's say,
Yeah.
or oh, it doesn't say that.
So then what else would you recommend then to any parent that would experience this? Again, have you met any other parents now that you're talking and you're being so vocal about it on social media that the same thing has happened to?
Personally, face to face, no, but a lot of people are coming on in my messages telling me that it has happened to them. A lot of people have been left on the bus for hours, apparently forgotten about. And from high schoolers to elementary, obviously high schoolers, not that we don't need to worry about them, but I think it's more people are more concerned for the smaller kids,
Of
right?
course.
But I'm like, you
Well,
don't
we
know
but
who.
we also go back is it could be at a high schooler with special needs at that point too, where
Exactly. And that's what I was getting to. But still, we should still be concerned for our high schoolers, because even more, they are some beautiful young ladies, some young, handsome man, and they could be getting kidnapped themselves. So we should still worry for elementary child as much as high schoolers. We should worry for all the children, every single one. But my biggest recommendation is that if you can afford aftercare, go with the aftercare route. If you can afford private busing, but that's not a thing here in Seminole
I
County
was
from what
gonna
I'm
say
seeing.
that's not a
Yeah.
thing here because I
Yeah.
I looked
And I
into
think
it
it
because
should be.
I wasn't comfortable with the public school transportation because she doesn't get dropped off exactly at the location where I live. She has to walk a little bit, right? And I was, just I wasn't used to it. I wasn't, I had that separation anxiety. What's gonna
Yeah.
happen to her? We're in a new city. But then after a while, I was like, just stick with the group. Everybody walk together, and just come straight home. It's not that long of a walk. It's probably like a block, but right, it's like certain bus stops. When you pay
Right.
the private school buses, they're dropping you off right in front of your house.
Mhm.
So that has a huge value to me also. But when I was looking into it, I noticed that there's none available here unless you get a private bus, a private driver, I guess, at that point.
And
Like, how
then
would that
even
work?
then, they only do it, like, I know there's daycares that will pick up your kids, but they only do it until middle school, and that's it.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So for any entrepreneurs out there, there's a market missing out here. We need
You're
transportation.
giving me an idea right now. Like, is this my maybe this is
Is
the
this your
next move here?
calling?
Get a little bus here and start picking up children, right?
Yeah.
And giving parents, peace of mind that their kids are gonna arrive home safe. So ultimately, then, what do you think? Who do you think the responsibility ultimately falls on, right? Is it the individual driver? Is it the transportation management? Is it the school? Is it the system? Is it
It's the
everything? Is it the parent?
transportation system. I do feel it's the transportation system. I don't want to point my finger and be like specifically at one driver. Now I will say the driver, the first driver that, because again, had he apologized and be like, hey, I'm so sorry, things happen, this and this and that. I would have been like, hey, I get it. It's a mistake. Don't let it happen again. I could have been a little bit more reasonable, more
Oh,
understanding.
girl, you are nicer than me. No,
Like,
no, no, you
I am.
shouldn't have. She is
As
5 years
much as
old.
people think that I have a potty mouth, I am very understanding. I am. I would have been like, it's okay, I get it. I would have still called to make an issue, but I would have not gone so livid like how I was, right? But just like again, when it happened the second time, at least that bus driver was a lot apologetic and all this. So I will say, and then she like showed me like, hey, I don't even know exactly what school she goes to because it doesn't say it here. So I was
No, and
like,
at
okay,
least that one, yeah, they dropped her off at the wrong, but it was a school, right? Like that she's gonna
exactly,
be safe there, and they found her right away, and she came back to get her. It's still terrible, but it's not like okay, drop her off at a
exactly.
stop, get off, figure
So
it out.
that's why I do feel like it's more of the system itself. Something needs to give, if something has to do better with that. They need to have like better training, like a better checklist for the first day. I don't know. Because this is happening way too often on the first, second week of school. Way too often.
Oh my God. I would have pulled my kid from, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. I don't know what I would have done. And she's so beautiful, right? And
Thank you.
with her little braids, and she's so cute with her backpack. Thank God, que tiene chipa. Like I'm telling you, because a
Yeah.
lot of other kids, I think, would panic, right? Because sometimes you just
Yeah.
panic because you don't know what's happening and you don't know how to react. And God knows what they could have done and who could have found them. Thank God for that
And
person
that's
that
my
found
biggest
them.
thing is somebody finding her. Like her coming home, walking home, I'm sure she could have made it home. But it's just like what could have happened if she would have walked home? Who could have got her? Who could have snatched her up?
Anybody. She's not she's focusing on getting home. Somebody just grabs her and puts her in a van and that's it.
Hmm.
Gets your
Yeah,
phone, throws it out the window. Nobody can find Angelina. You know.
exactly.
But no, I'm thank God, that she's with you, that she's safe, that you're bringing attention to this matter with the public school system, transportation system. I'm sure that this happens in many counties. It's not just Seminole County. But
Right.
obviously this struck a chord with me because I'm also in Seminole County with a child that rides the public bus system. But yeah, keep spreading awareness. I'll edit some clips on this. We'll blow this up a little bit just to keep getting
Yeah.
attention. And yes, girl, join every board meeting, show up,
Oh,
and make
I never did. I think I'd be one of those, but here I am attending a board meeting.
oh yeah, you never know. Maybe this goes all the way to the White House. You know what I mean? Like thank
Maybe.
God that nothing happened to your daughter. But how many stories don't you hear of children that get kidnapped, And this is
Mhm.
very easily one of those stories. You just have, you were very fortunate and now you're bringing
Yeah.
awareness to it. So keep doing that, Diana. This is a great movement that you've started here. Um,
Thank you.
any final thoughts that you wanna just, leave us with
No,
with
the
with
only thing
everything that
I'm
you've
gonna
experienced?
say is keep those babies safe. If you are a bus driver out there listening to this, please have some compassion. If they're a little kid on the first week of school, please make sure that they're getting off where they're supposed to. Ask the questions. For the parents, don't make the same mistake I made, I guess. Do a trial run with your kid. Make sure they know what school they're
Excellent
going
idea.
to.
Yeah. I like that a
Um,
lot.
Make sure you know what school they're going to, and just, if again, biggest thing that saved her and me was having a phone. So if I know you guys are against having phones for your little ones, even if it's like a little flip phone,
What
as
about like
long
a
as
little tracking device? Don't they have like
it's,
tracking devices now that you can put on
yeah,
their
but
on
if
their
with a tracking
shoes?
device, what good can we do if she can't call you
No, good
if
point.
she's lost?
Well, no, at least you could see where she's at, right? At
Yeah.
that point, like find her and show up in the location wherever you
So
would find
get the
her.
Apple tag. So I do have an Apple tag on her
Right.
backpack, and then I do have one on her shoe, and then I do have her phone. So that's what I have. I have three different ways because again, if anything happens, they lose the backpack. It's on her shoe, you know.
Smart.
So I do have different options of that. Track them as best as you can, and just help your babies. Let them know that apparently they got to help the drivers out.
Oh my God. I can't believe that. I can't,
They're the
you know,
responsible ones. The 5-year-olds are the responsible ones, not the drivers.
it is a lot of responsibility. It's what you said earlier, right? It's a lot of responsibility for very little pay.
It is.
To have to take on that level of responsibility for other people's young children.
Hmm.
But you know what? You signed up for the job, dude. Like, come on.
Exactly.
They're babies.
And that's what I say with every job, not just a bus driver. If you're not good with customer service, don't work at McDonald's. Don't work with the public. If you know you don't like helping others, don't work with the elderly. Don't work with young children. It's really simple.
Was the guy, the bus driver, was he older?
Um, he was like 50, 60.
And what nationality was he?
Um, dark African American.
Okay. But he was like an older guy. Maybe he was just like an
Yeah,
angry old man too. Yeah, it's like, dude, if you don't like this job, get another one, right?
exactly. So
Oh
yeah,
man. Hi, what a story, girl. What a story. Nothing. I wish you the best of luck. I'll be
thank you.
following you on social media to see, any movement that you get going with this
Thank
great
you.
message, so I'll share this with you as well so that you can keep
Now,
sharing
I
it.
was
And
actually going to ask you, where can people check out your podcast if they want to see it?
so it's on YouTube. It's
Okay.
Monica Clavijo TV. The name of the podcast is The Bear
The Bear
Experiment.
Experiment.
But I'll be posting clips, and
Okay.
on there I'll have all the information. But yeah, it's on YouTube, and
Perfect.
I'll have this one up probably by this weekend.
Okay.
Um so yeah, and we'll get some movement going. And as you get more progress with everything that you're doing, we'll talk about it too to keep this message alive, right? I think that this is important. This is really important because again, we go back to just the world that we're living in. I'm sure a lot of parents would want to pick up their children. And listen, I could pick up my daughter also in the afternoon. I drop her off in the morning just because I don't want to, because she's in high school, so they have to wake up at the crack of dawn, right?
Yeah.
But I could pick her up in the afternoon, get out of work real quick, go pick her up, and it's just like it's a lot. It's a lot, just driving around and everything. Like take the bus and come home. You're old enough to
Exactly.
and it's also because I'm one person like doing everything. So I get it. I totally get it. Like sometimes you're just like, okay, this is a service that's provided by the county for the taxes that we're paying, but get it
Exactly.
right. These are our
I work
children also.
8 to 5. I own a home remodeling business. I have to drive my kids around to the extracurricular activities. So if I could save from doing school rides, I'm trying to do that. But
Yeah.
if not, like I said, I told her I would give her one more week. If there's one more mess up, then she'll definitely be a car rider
Oh
line.
my God.
But she really wants to stay on this bus, so hopefully not.
Well, remember too, like, they have buddies on the bus. I remember
Hmm.
growing up, I used to love going on the bus also because you're with your friends, you're shooting the
Yeah.
shit, right? Like it's fun. It's not like us having to ride the bus at our age now.
Right.
But anyway, Diana, thank you so much for taking the time to
Yes.
to speak with us and share your story. Super important, super valuable, positive,
Thank you.
positive outcome. Thank God that everything worked out for you and Angelina. But yeah, keep sharing, keep spreading this message around because I'm sure that a lot of parents have experienced this and maybe they're just afraid to talk, right? Because it's like, oh, maybe there's
Exactly.
gonna be some backlash on my child or
Hmm.
on my family. No, you got to talk. That's the only way that you're going to bring attention to anything that is being done wrong.
Exactly. But thank you so much for having me and letting me share this. I'm very, very happy to be here.
No, likewise, likewise. We'll definitely keep in touch, okay?
Yes. Thank you so much. Have a
Okay,
good
honey.
one.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.